Talking about the practicality of it now, I'm sure you've met people over the years and had these conversations across probably strata, different income levels in the country. What are the things you hear when you speak with them?
Well, I work with the United Nations Population Fund. We do a lot of advocacy at different levels, at the government level, with religious and traditional leaders, and with the people themselves in the community. One key thing that stands out, especially for people that have been averse, so to speak, to family planning, is that they believe you want to use this to control the numbers of children they can have. But one thing that rings true to them is making them understand the effect of staying healthy enough to take care of the next baby. Nobody is saying don't have your children, but please space them.
First of all, at least that's...
First of all, inadequate number of years for you to be healthy enough to carry these babies and for you to even have gainful employment to take care of these babies. So a lot of advocacy and a lot of the ways we speak to people is talk about healthy timing and spacing of birth, as against just talking about just straight family planning. So that way they can see the benefits that accrue to them if they're able to space their births. One, they stay healthier. Do you know the National Demographic Service says that 37% of those that have stunted births have it because they have their children too early and too quickly. So because of that, you are able to stay healthy, you have healthier children, and you're able to have economic income growth, savings, investments also, and then prosperity for the entire family. So those things ring true with people, and because of that, you find more people are acceptable.
I was just going through the objectives of this conference that's coming up, or the summit that's coming up, and one of them says you're trying to increase youth engagement. Do you see a difference in generations when you have these conversations? Maybe are younger people trying to have children more or less? And why is that, if that is?
Younger people are trying to have children less, and I'm sure you agree with that. Yes, like I told you earlier, the economic reality stares us in the face, and a lot more younger people, are coming down. I mean, they are reducing the number of children they're having now.
So do you find that they are engaged? How do you engage them?
But the problem we have is that there are lots of young people that do want to space time or prevent pregnancies, but are not using any modern contraceptives to do so, unfortunately. So that is where we have the gap in terms of information. A lot of young people want to space or prevent pregnancies, but they don't have the adequate information. And many times, even when they have some information, they just get it from some peers, and they're wrong information. So we have deployed quite a number of opportunities and ways where young people can actually get good information. For example, the United Nations Population Fund, we have this website that is called www.thesubjectmatter.com, where young people can actually go online and get correct information as per their sexual and reproductive health, their choices. They can get information on what healthcare facilities, at least in 12 states of this country, where they can actually go to, and they're youth friendly. So all of this is available. The problem we have with young people is the gap in information.
Okay, let's go back to Abuja now with Ustaz Bashir Mundi. When you deal with people, Nigeria is a very patriarchal society, of course, so most times in homes like this, on the average, you find that the men tend to make the decisions with regards to, okay, I want more, I want less, or whatever it is. So when you're having this conversation, are you speaking to men? Do you also find that income is a problem?
Well, just like Dr. Aina said, the economy, I think that just the practicalities, just the practical realities of living, people don't have to think about having less children. The practical realities of living and careers and education and the demands of all of these that have become more and more complex naturally does not allow or does not make it so conducive for people to even have more children. It's interesting that the higher the rate of education, the higher normally among the more educated class, the less children they have, because their children really become assets for them, and they have pensions and retirement plans and all of that, and they're able to take care of themselves even in old age, as opposed to previous times and even nowadays in rural communities where people tended to want more children, partly because of their social security, because of this, to have those to fend for them later in life. But when you have one child that has a capacity of 2 or 3 in a rural setting, for example, then you find that the pressure is less. Secondly, I think the conversation, yes, is to men, but there's always mutuality in families, whether or not cultural realities in different places might give more power or authority to a man over a woman. But the reality in most families is that there's always a mutual consultation, and especially from religious point of view, at least Islamic point of view, there's this emphasis on mutuality. So the conversation is to men, but I think also the conversation is also to women, especially with regards to empowering women in education, the girl-child education. You will find that is perhaps, and it has been shown in other countries such as Singapore, it's been shown that if you educate the girl-child, it naturally one of the consequences is this spacing, so that children that are born are better taken care of. The child of a literate mother, an educated mother, is a lot less likely to be uneducated than the child of an uneducated or illiterate mother. Okay. So you shift the dynamic. So this is extremely key, and I think that the conversation is to men, but it is also to women, and it is also to government and policy makers for where to shift their attention for a more effective results in this regard.
All right, thank you very much. Just hanging right there, we're going to take a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll try and conclude this conversation and see what way we can make going forward. I'll see you guys in a moment.